What's up guys, JV2017 here, and I am very excited today to show you all the new survival mode beta that just came to Steam earlier this morning. And unfortunately, only PC players can experience it and play it now, but luckily I will share as much as possible with you all, no matter what console or platform you're on, while it's still in the opt-in beta. They don't seem to have a concrete date on when this is supposed to roll out to consoles. I think they said either next month or in a month, something along those lines. Keep in mind that the original plan was to have this on beta on Steam to test it out, finalize it, and then once it's done and ready to go, it's going to push out in an official update for both the PC and console versions of the game. That's when console players will be able to play it. I've left links to the official survival mode announcement on Bethesda's website, as well as a guide on how to opt into the public beta if you're on PC in the description below. If you want to know how to do that, that should help you. All of that is in the description below if you guys are interested. Let's go ahead and clarify some ground rules of the survival mode so far, some things that I can tell, and some facts. So first and foremost, all of what you see in the beta and in this video could change. All of it is subject to change. That's why it's in this public beta, so Bethesda can gather feedback. So it could change from what you're seeing in this video when it's officially released with update 1.5, which is a video I'll make on my channel. So don't be surprised if something changes. Next, you can just change your game to survival mode. It doesn't matter what character you're on, but once you do that, you can't change it back unless you never want to play survival mode again. This means you can put your super high level characters in survival mode, but be sure and make a save before you do so, because if you change your mind and want to go back to very hard, for example, you will not be able to play survival mode again on that character. It'll give you a little prompt, you just can't do it again. So it's pretty much a pretty big decision, and you don't have to make a new character and start out on survival mode. The first major new feature is saving with sleep. So your manual, quick saves, and almost all autosaves are completely disabled. If you pause the game, they will just be grayed out. You can't click on them when you're on the new survival mode. So what you have to do is find a bed, any bed, and sleep for at least 1 hour, and that will kind of replenish your sleep, which is something you need. I'm talking about that in a little bit here. So something also to note is that better beds will provide more sleep. You can sleep longer in them, and they'll give you well rested, which is new and improved. So first off, with beds, your sleeping bags will only let you sleep for 3 hours. That's it. You can't sleep longer than 3 hours, and then it kind of goes up the tiers, and the biggest bed doesn't have a limit on how much you can sleep. I slept for a full 24 hours, which seems a little unrealistic. I would think they'd cap that off. Maybe they will, you know, in the official release, but that's how it is right now. And also, well rested, instead of just giving you the plus 10% experience for a limited time, which is what it did before, it also provides +2 endurance and +2 agility in addition to those. So some different unique changes here. This really will emphasize the use of settlements, in my opinion. I think every settlement, those 30 settlements that were just all around the map, will now be so much more useful because you can make a bed, you can visit that because you're nearby, and it will be very useful. Next, there is no fast travel. This is something a lot of people did not want, but they went ahead and did it. I'm glad they did. So you have to travel between locations by foot, running, walking, whatever it is, you have to do that. And so this, from their perspective, encourages exploration, and it'll, you know, it really enhances the experience, in my opinion. It can get annoying. It is for more of a patient player. This entire mode is definitely going to be, because it's pretty hardcore, but no fast travel is huge. And also, again, I think this re-emphasizes the need for settlements. And all those 30 settlements, you can't fast travel, but you can go to safe locations where there is a bed where you can save. Next, they made some extensive damage changes that doesn't work how it usually does. So normally you've got this sliding scale where on higher difficulties the player deals less damage and the enemies deal more damage to you. That's not how it is with survival. You deal more damage to enemies as well as them dealing more damage to you. The player takes more damage from enemies as well. So think of it as more of a twitch shooter, like a Call of Duty. Enemies will drop you a lot more quickly, and you will drop them a lot more quickly. The obvious main reasons for this are realism. You know, it's more realistic. Bullets kill a lot quicker than they do in an RPG, and that's what they're going for. And also, it raises the stakes. A lot of these things raise the stakes, make it a lot more dangerous to even travel out in the world, and so this makes a lot of sense. Along with damage, they've introduced the Adrenaline perk, and this gives you plus 5% bonus damage per rank of Adrenaline, and you gain ranks by killing enemies, and you lose them while sleeping, and there's 10 ranks total, so you can get up to plus 50% damage if you're awake and you've been killing a lot of enemies. So Adrenaline is a thing in real life, and so I was kind of questioning why wasn't this perk in the game in the first place. It makes a lot of sense that it is in survival mode, because you do get Adrenaline when you kill somebody, I guess. I've never killed somebody in my life, so I don't know. But obviously you would think you would, and so Adrenaline makes a lot of sense adding to the realism there, and it kind kind of gives you this cost-benefit analysis in your head. You're thinking, do I want to go out, kill more enemies, and, you know, deal with the insomnia, not sleeping, which is something we're about to talk about? Or do I want to go back and sleep and sacrifice all the adrenaline I built up, and I'll need to kill more enemies, you know, in order to build that back up? It's a really interesting new gameplay mechanic. They've completely removed enemies from the compass, which means looking at the bottom of the screen, you're not going to see little red blips, and you can't rely on that to know if enemies are around the corner waiting for you. So you have to rely on your eyesight a lot more, and also recon scopes can kind of get around this. They'll mark enemies, you know, with a kind of a red diamond on your screen. Also, you can outfit your robots with mods with the recon mod, so they can also mark enemies for you. Those still work in the survival mode. They've also reduced the distance that you can see a location on your compass. So overall, they just nerfed it across the board. Next, they've introduced wellness, which is essentially just the bundle of sleep, needing water, and needing food. You know, requiring sleep, hunger, thirst, you know, not being exhausted, those kind of things that kind of were in New Vegas with their hardcore mode. They are now in Fallout 4's survival mode, and they can all be monitored via the status effects on the Pip-Boy. You just have to go to the stat tab and then click Q on the PC. It's probably, obviously, something else on consoles, but then you can kind of look at all of these status effects and see if you need hunger or thirst. Also in the bottom right, it'll be under your AP bar. You'll see kind of, you know, some little icons that show you, hey, my character's hungry. He needs, you know, hunger in order to keep going, needs thirst, those kind of things. And if you go a long time without those, it'll increase your fatigue, which is something we're rolling into now. So you've got fatigue, and it's affected mostly by sleep. So if you don't sleep a lot, if your character is sleep deprived, then, you know, your fatigue will increase, but also your hunger and thirst affects it by a small degree as well. So what fatigue does is very, very smart. It lowers the maximum action points with a little bit of red kind of portion on your AP bar in the bottom right, very similar to radiation on your hit points. So again, if you get radiation on your hit points, it's going to reduce your maximum health. Fatigue reduces your maximum action points, doesn't let you sprint as much, doesn't let you attack as much like with melee weapons or in general with VATS. It's very, very interesting, and I really like this system. They've also reduced the overall carrying weight. You can carry less items. Right when I switched it to survival mode, I had about 250 carrying weight, I think. It was reduced all the way down to 130. So I don't know if there's an actual percentage that you can apply to every character. I'm sure it probably depends on your strength, but they've reduced overall carrying weight, and now your ammunition and stim packs weigh something, and that's something you have to absolutely factor into when you're carrying all this stuff around. And ammo weight actually varies by the caliber, so it's very accurate in that sense. I don't know if they've got their numbers right, but, you know, you'll see very long decimals, like a 38 round probably weighs like 0.025, and then you've got a shotgun shell that weighs 0.2. And so these things are, you know, something you're gonna have to think about while you're picking up ammo out in the world. And also your missiles and mini nukes, things like that, larger ammo weigh a lot more. So missiles will weigh you down 7 pounds, you know, 7 units, which is a ton. Mini nukes weigh 12. So you really got to think about picking those things up while you're out exploring. And then also they've got over encumbrance is something you really have to worry about. It reduces your wellness overall. So that means it makes you more thirsty, more hungry, also more tired. Makes sense if you're carrying too much stuff. It also builds fatigue, so you have to worry about that on your AP bar. And also it will cripple your legs. If you keep carrying stuff overweight, you'll see it'll cripple your legs if you look at your status effects. And also it'll just reduce your health. It'll just like chop it down every like 30 seconds. It's really extreme. The final major category I'm going to cover in this video is companions, and they have reduced carrying weight just like the Sole Survivor the player. Also, they require stim packs. They won't automatically get up after battle. You will have to stim pack them. If you can't stim pack them, if you're out of them and you don't want to waste your stim pack, they're going to return home if you abandon them. But again, we don't have fast travel. So if their home is all the way in Sanctuary, you're way down, you know, at the airport, you know, with the BOS, that's a pain. You know, you're gonna have to go all the way back to get them. And so that's something you really have to think about. It also applies to robots in the Automatron DLC. So they don't get a free pass. They're not overpowered. They're the same as all other vanilla companions. You will need to use those robot repair kits in order to get them up. If you abandon them, they will return to their settlement. There's so much more nuance with this survival mode, and I don't want to make this video like 20 minutes long, so I'm gonna go through these next features quickly, but I am gonna make some separate videos on them, especially illnesses. There's some very interesting stuff going on there. So a list of additional features that they are adding are illnesses and antibiotics. So if you get hit by something like a mole rat, you might get some kind of disease. You might get, insomnia, for example, is an illness. If you don't sleep enough, you will have insomnia. You have to deal with that. That'll reduce, your AP with fatigue. You can buy antibiotics to get rid of some of these illnesses, and that's the only way to get rid of them. Some doctors will sell them. It's a very robust system, something I'm going to cover in a different video. We also have immunodeficiency, which is something I didn't expect. If you take something that reduces your radiation, it reduces your immune system, which is how it works in real life. If you take something that flushes out your body, you're going to be more susceptible to other illnesses. And so that's something you have to factor in, which is just mind-blowing that this is something you would have to deal with in this mode. We have slower healing, which is something you obviously expect from survival, more realistic. And then crippled limbs do not automatically uncripple themselves after combat. They will require a stim pack in order to, uncripple. Enemy and loot repopulation is a lot slower. That means you can't just keep going back to the same location after, I think it's 5 days or something. Everyone has figured out that there's a certain amount of time where something will repopulate. That doesn't happen anymore. It's going to be a lot longer. So you will have to discover new locations, go out into the world to find your resources. So they'll be a lot more limited in that sense. Finally, there's a ton of food effects. Again, this is going to be a whole separate video that I'm going to have to cover for you guys to really get into how deep this is. So, for example, Nuka-Cola is going to be caffeinated, and caffeine is going to help you in the short term. It's going to keep you awake, maybe get rid of some insomnia or some fatigue effects, but it's actually going to hurt you. You're going to crash, or, something is going to dehydrate you that you eat. These are things you're going to have to worry about in your status effects menu. I swear to God, you're going to be looking at your status effects so much in this new survival mode. The cooking station will be a lot more important because if you eat food that's not cooked, you will gain some kind of illness that will need an antibiotic. You need to make sure that your water is clean and purified. If you drink unpurified water, irradiated water, then you will suffer from that, get some kind of illness, your radiation will increase, all manner of things. This video was kind of a general overview of what you can expect from this survival mode and all of the changes actually in action on your screen. And man, this is really hardcore. If you want a survival mode, if you want a hardcore mode, this takes it to the next level. This makes, New Vegas hardcore mode look like child's play. Nothing by comparison. This is insane. So let me know what you guys think about this survival mode if you're going to test it out on PC. If you can't wait for it on consoles, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Alright guys, today we looked at the new survival mode beta on PC for Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. I also wanted to announce I will be doing a new survival mode beta playthrough on my channel starting sometime this week. I'm not sure on the exact day, but really look out for that, guys. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have a webcam in the bottom right corner, and it's going to be a blast, so I hope you guys are going to be looking forward to that. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more Automatron DLC coverage, robot build guides, my Let's Play, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.